dressing them up and taking them everywhere.
Probably a little ridiculous, but it's the only thing my daughter asked for. She's 9 years old, so mommy breaks her neck.
The popularity of Cabbage Patch Kids sparked a frenzy with merchandise like clothes, accessories, and even a cartoon show. They weren't just toys, but a cultural phenomenon that captured the hearts of kids and adults alike. Even today, people look back on Cabbage Patch Kids with fond memories, remembering the joy and excitement they brought during the vibrant 80s. Leg warmers. Leg warmers were all the rage in the 1980s thanks to the aerobics craze in movies like Flashdance. They were these long, stretchy tubes of fabric that you wore around your legs, usually scrunched near your ankles. People would rock them with everything from workout gear to miniskirts, adding color and style to their outfits.
Leg warmers. It's a look that's all yours.
Yeah,
available in
leg
7
warmers.
luscious colors.
Leg warmers weren't just a fashion statement, they were practical too, keeping your legs warm during chilly workouts or dance rehearsals. Leg warmers were essential accessories, whether hitting the gym or
I'm bringing the leg warmer back. My leg be cold.
hanging out with friends. Leg warmers became synonymous with the energetic and vibrant spirit of the 80s, showcasing a blend of fitness and fashion that defined the era. Even today, leg warmers bring back memories of neon colors, big hair, and catchy tunes, reminding us of a time when anything seemed possible and fashion was all about having fun. But how did the scrunchy leg warmers of the era hold up against the gravity-defying hairstyles that dominated the scene, like those iconic big hairdos sported by Madonna and Bon Jovi? Big hair. One thing that defined the 80s in the USA was big hair. It was all about volume and height. People, especially women, rocked hairstyles that were larger than life. Picture hair teased to perfection, reaching for the sky like a fluffy cloud.
You need this Afro Sheen hairspray to give your hair sparkle.
That smells nice too.
Achieving this look often required gallons of hairspray and a teasing comb. The result? Hair that could withstand the wind, rain, and maybe even a hurricane. Big hair wasn't just a style, it was a statement. It said, "I'm bold, confident, and ready to conquer the world." Celebrities like Madonna and Bon Jovi were famous for their gravity-defying hairdos, inspiring countless imitators nationwide. Whether you were going to a party, hitting the mall, or just hanging out with friends, big hair was a must. It wasn't always easy to maintain. Constant teasing and spraying took time and effort, but the result was worth it. Big hair was a symbol of the 80s, capturing the exuberance and extravagance of the era. Teen movies. Teen movies were all the rage and still hold a special place in our hearts today. Films like The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Back to the Future captured the essence of being a teenager in that era.
And one for you, McFly. I believe that makes 4 in a row.
And look at the quality. Look at the quality of the movie. The quality was pretty good.
Now let me give you Nichols with a free advice, young man.
The Breakfast Club showed the highs and lows of high school life, bringing together diverse students who formed unlikely friendships during detention.
I'm doing society a favor, so that's another one right now. I've got you for the rest of your natural-born life if you don't watch your step. You want another one?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off was all about seizing the day and having epic adventures, while Back to the Future took us on a wild ride through time with Marty McFly and Doc Brown. These movies spoke to a generation, addressing friendship, rebellion, and self-discovery themes. With their memorable characters, quotable lines, and killer soundtracks, these films became classics, shaping how we view the 80s and reminding us of the magic of youth.
You don't want to talk about your problem?
With you, are you serious?
I'm serious.
But amidst the drama and laughter of The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, did these iconic films inspire the same camaraderie and thrill in the arcade game world? Arcade games. Arcade games were the bomb. You'd find these extraordinary places called arcades, packed with rows of arcade machines, each beckoning with flashy lights and inviting sounds.
Show mommy how you play. Go.
Games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Space Invaders were the show's stars. Pac-Man had you munching dots while avoiding pesky ghosts. Donkey Kong had you climbing platforms to rescue a damsel in distress, and Space Invaders had you defending Earth from an alien invasion. You'd spend hours trying to beat your high score or watching in awe as someone else dominated the game. Arcades were more than just places to play games. They were hubs of social interaction and friendly company.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? If you're checking your phone, stop that. Instead, try this technique from the
Petition. Transformers. If you were a kid in the 80s, chances are you were obsessed with Transformers.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the...
These fabulous toys were more than action figures. They were disguised robots. Each Transformer could change shape, going from a vehicle like a car or a truck to a mighty robot warrior with just a few twists and turns. It was like having two toys in one.
Attack the Autobot Commander! Call in a Decepticon leader! Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers.
The Transformers weren't just cool toys, but also the stars of a popular animated series. The show followed the epic battle between the heroic Autobots, led by Optimus Prime, and the evil Decepticons, led by Megatron. Every episode was packed.
So, look at how far all of this stuff has come. This is 40 years we talking about right here. Almost 50. Of all of this, pretty much all of this stuff.
With action, adventure, and many robot battles.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, robots in disguise.
Kids everywhere would rush home from school to catch the latest episode, eagerly awaiting the next thrilling showdown. The Transformers franchise wasn't just about toys and cartoons. It was a cultural phenomenon that swept the nation. It spawned comic books, video games, and even a blockbuster movie franchise. The appeal of the Transformers lay in their ability to spark the imagination. Whether you were pretending to be a fearless Autobot or a sinister Decepticon, playing with Transformers allowed you to become part of an epic sci-fi adventure. The Cold War. Growing up in the 80s, we couldn't escape the looming shadow of the Cold War. It was this intense standoff between the USA and the Soviet Union, with both sides armed to the teeth with nuclear weapons. The fear of a nuclear war was always there, lurking in the background. We saw it in movies, heard about it on the news, and even learned about it in school. However, one event that stood out was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989.
Oh,
it was this
the year I was born. Now we've reached it. The fall of the Berlin Wall.
Iconic moment when the barrier that divided East and West Germany came crashing down, symbolizing the end of the Cold War era. People celebrated in the streets, tearing down the wall piece by piece. It was a powerful reminder that hope and unity could prevail even in the face of great adversity. The Cold War may have been a dark chapter in history, but moments like the fall of the Berlin Wall showed us that change was possible and that peace was worth fighting for. As the world grappled with the tension of the Cold War of the 80s, a momentous event signaled a shift towards unity and hope, the fall of the Berlin Wall. But amidst this historical backdrop, another phenomenon emerged, captivating millions worldwide. How did Michael Jackson's Thriller redefine music and culture during this era of uncertainty and change? Michael Jackson's Thriller. In the 80s, one name stood out in music: Michael Jackson. His album Thriller was a game changer. It wasn't just a collection of songs, but a cultural phenomenon. Thriller had hit after hit, from the infectious beats of Billie Jean to the electrifying title track, Thriller. But what set it apart was the music video. The Thriller music video was unlike anything we'd ever seen. It was more than just a video, it was a mini movie, complete with zombies, werewolves, and a killer dance routine. Michael Jackson's moves were out of this world, and the special effects were mind-blowing. It was like watching a Hollywood blockbuster in miniature form. The Thriller video became an instant classic, and everyone seemed to be talking about it. People would gather around their TVs whenever it came on, eager to glimpse Michael's mesmerizing performance. It wasn't just a music video, it was an event. Thriller catapulted Michael Jackson.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. We in here again today. It's Find Your Way Wednesday. Let me check out what the topic is for y'all today. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting a phone call. Y'all go back on standby.
was E.T. the Extraterrestrial. It wasn't just a sci-fi film.
So, type in the chat if you out there, how many of y'all remember these things? All right.
But a heartwarming tale of friendship.
All right, y'all. So the topic for today is our options. We're just looking at our options. You push select or you push options, and you can see everything you got. So let's go ahead and get the motivation in here for the day real quick, and then we'll go from there. With that motivation here for the day. Motivation for women. Let's do women over 50. Let's see what we got.
Hold on.
Can we
You're
do
still
today?
purchasing.
I don't know if we could do today on here. So let's just take that out. All right. All right, ladies. My women out there. This for y'all.
Does anybody ever really acknowledge the good you are? No. Do you know the good you are? Do you know it?
And I remember having a moment thinking, I'm now, for the rest of my life, going to be called a bad girl. I really don't belong here, and I don't even know how this happened to me. That I am in a place for bad girls. Because I didn't feel like I was a bad girl. And so the question is, what do you believe? Do you believe that you are worthy of happiness? I know that if you allow the past to define your present, that you never actually really get to live the life that you were meant to live. You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward.
I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The fears that my parents had had for me and that I had had for myself had both come to pass. And by every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun. That period of my life was a dark one, and for a long time, any light at the end of it was a hope rather than a reality. So why do I talk about the benefits of failure? Simply because failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I really succeeded at anything else, I might never have found the determination to succeed in the one arena where I believed I truly belonged. I was set free. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. In which case, you fail by default. So given a time turner, I would tell my 21-year-old self that personal happiness lies in knowing that life is not a checklist of acquisition or achievement.
Yes.
Your qualifications, your CV, are not your life, though you will meet many people of my age and older who confuse the two. Life is difficult and complicated and beyond anyone's total control, and the humility to know that will enable you to survive its vicissitudes.
And so the question is, what do you believe? Do you believe that you are worthy of happiness? Do you believe that happiness, success, abundance, comfort, fulfillment, peace, joy, love is a part of your birthright? Is that what you believe? Because you will manifest the life that you believe.
Yes,
I've always
yes, ma'am.
known that no matter what my belief is, I'm going to be right.
When you do well, people notice. When you do your best, people notice. And so wherever you are, always do your best. And doing your best puts you at the next level.
Yes, ma'am.
It's about what can you do. You just need to run that race as hard as you can. You need to give it everything you've got all the time for yourself. For yourself.
As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters.
What matters is now, this moment, and your willingness to see this moment for what it is, accept it, forgive the past, take responsibility, and move forward. This is your second chance. This is your opportunity to seize this moment and make something of your life.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go, y'all. This is your chance to seize this moment and make something of your life. All right, let's go. Let's see what
Old
they
Spice Swagger's long-lasting freshness makes me smell good, so Coach thinks I'm slacking.
If you're working hard, how do you smell so fresh?
So I trained, constantly, took my Old Spice Swagger, and got a drill named after me.
Hi, I'm Phil.
And I'm Celeste.
And we are Retire on 2K, exploring our options.
And we've been playing a game on our Facebook group about where in the world are Phil and Celeste, and that's been kind of fun to see your responses. And if you have been guessing where we're at, those of you who guessed Mexico, you are right.
You're right. We are down in Rosarito Beach, Mexico. We're visiting dear friends of ours, Don and Sandy Godwin, and we love the Rosarito Beach area. We've been looking at housing costs and what it would take to live outside the American culture and be able to afford to live in a beautiful area like this, just a handful of miles south of San Diego, California.
So don't freak out, we haven't moved yet. Remember, this whole process is about exploring our options. And some of you may say, well, gosh, my options are not to move to Mexico.
Right.
There's lots of options out there, and we'll be looking at all of them. This just happens to be one that we wanted to check out.
So we just wanted to put a video together. We're just going to put this on the way it's shot right here. We're not going to edit it. But we have really enjoyed our time here so far. We will be exploring other areas of Mexico, and we will inform you of that and what's going on. But we are just looking at retiring in an area where we can afford to live on our Social Security, and it can be done, and you can enjoy your retirement years, and it doesn't necessarily have to be continuously in the United States. But
hey, I like that. That's a good contrast. I didn't particularly wasn't thinking about going there. Hey, look at them. Look at they back.
Hi, I'm Phil.
And I'm Celeste.
And we are retiring on 2K, exploring our options. So we're coming to you today from
retiring on
inside
2K.
of our complex here, our apartment complex in Franklin, Tennessee. It's a beautiful evening here. And we're just wanting to share with you some things that we've been thinking about. So when we first started this process, we were thinking about, going back to the Northwest where we were from and and buying an acre and the thought of building our own home.
Or buying something that we needed, that we could renovate easily, the two of us, and that sounded kind of fun.
I hope
We
y'all
loved
can
the
hear him.
climate where we lived, and we love the people there. So that was our first choice, and we spent about 4 months actually looking for affordable property there.
Yes, we were initially wanting to, like I mentioned, buy an acre and then build my own home. My brother John and I, we framed houses together as teenagers for a contractor in our father's church who went to my dad's church. And so we learned how to frame houses, how to build homes. And so that was one option. And so, but looking...
Wait, but we didn't tell them our...
They retiring on 2K. Hold on, let's get another one in here. I'm thinking that they saying they retiring with $2,000 on $2,000 probably a month. Something like that. Hold on. Let me get y'all something else.
How do you know when it's time to end a relationship or when to really fight for it to see if there's something there?
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Hey, how you doing? Today I want to talk about two specific things about my experience with living in Tijuana. One is the reason I left, and two is the one thing I wish I knew before I moved to Tijuana. The first one is let's talk about the reason I moved to Tijuana.
All right, anybody moving? Anybody moving to Tijuana? Let me change this search up a little bit. Anybody moving to Tijuana right now? All right, let's go.
We're going to talk about how to find and do work that you love. Let me introduce you to this concept. It's called Ikigai, and it means thing that you live for. And it's broken down into 4 circles like this. And it talks about what do you love? What does the world need? What do you get paid money for?
Lord.
And what are you good at? So what happens if you love something and the world needs this? This is considered a mission. Now, if you're good at something and you love it, but you don't get paid for it, that would be considered your passion. And if you're good at it and you're paid for it, that's called your profession, a job. And then the last one is the world needs it and you're paid for it, but you may not be good at it. So we're going to call this a vocation. So Ikigai is to say that we must find something here, our reason for being. And this is really important. You must love it. You got to get paid for it. So all these things are in balance. And if we can design our lives around that idea, we'll be happier, healthier.
I'm going to let this play again.
Happier and wealthier than we've ever been. We're going to talk about how to find and do work that you love. Let me introduce you to this concept. It's called Ikigai, and it means thing that you live for. And it's broken down into 4 circles like this. And it talks about what do you love? What does the world need? What do you get paid money for? And what are you good at? So what happens if you love something and the world needs this? This is considered a mission. Now, if you're good at something and you love it, but you don't get paid for it, that would be considered your passion. And if you're good at it and you're paid...
It's the most useful part of the day. I'm about to type that in.
For it, that's called your profession, a job. And then the last one is the world needs it and you're paid for it, but you may not be good at it. So we're going to call this a vocation. So Ikigai is to say that we must find something here.
Yes.
Our reason for being. And this is really important. You must love it. You got to get paid for it. So all these things are in balance. And if we can design our lives around that idea, we'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier than we've ever been.
Yeah, we typing that in. Yes.
Have you
Let's
ever
go.
asked yourself this question?
Now listen. Listen. Every time we searching here on Expansion Pack, we can run into a whole bunch of whole host of things. All right. But we always find what we need. Ikigai. We back. Let go.
What is my purpose? With so many opportunities that life has to offer, and all these different jobs and careers, it's quite difficult to decide what we want to do with our lives. Society demands us to make decisions at a very young age about what path we're going to take. Most of the time, children have no clue about what life is like in adulthood. Society demands. It's quite difficult to decide what we want to do with our lives. Society demands us to make decisions at a very young age about what path we're going to take. Most of the time, children have no clue about what life is like in adulthood and what they want to do when they're grown up. In fact, many adults don't even have a clue. Now, the Japanese invented a philosophy named Ikigai, which stands for reason for being. Ikigai can help us to determine what it is that we want to wake up for in the morning. You know, that very thing that we can pour our heart and soul into. When we're totally immersed in our activities, so much so that nothing else matters, we're in a state of flow. Ikigai helps us to identify the necessary ingredients to get into this flow state and make our pursuits sustainable and useful for the world. Many people work in these jobs they hate. When we do this, the misery that we associate with these activities often creeps up on us on Sunday evenings, when we start to think about this dreadful Monday morning on which we have to drag ourselves out of bed, knowing that we'll spend the next week in hell. When we arrive, we still experience this nostalgia for the weekend.
You want to take your communication to the next level, whether you're running a business or just starting out, Grammarly has you covered.
And as soon as we begin with our tasks, we count down to the first break, and then the next, and then the next, until we can finally go home again and repeat the process. Now, this isn't a very enjoyable way to live. Think about it. Doing something we hate is a disservice to ourselves and also to our surroundings, especially when we see other colleagues that actually enjoy what they're doing, and on top of that, they're doing a great job. Again, many people get miserable because of their jobs, which in turn can lead to serious health problems like depression. Some even go as far as killing themselves because they cannot cope with the feelings of uselessness, hopelessness, and this nagging idea that they're failures in life. But we have a certain degree of control over our circumstances. We can try to change our position towards the situation and make our current job more enjoyable. Or we can reassess our own nature and the nature of our surroundings and likely come to the conclusion that it's better to find something different to do. Thus, the change we need to make is twofold. On the one hand, we need to change our mindset. On the other hand, we need to change our circumstances. Because when we do the right things with the right mindset, we're able to enter a state of flow. Ikigai helps us to identify what is the right thing to do for a certain individual. So this person is able to get out of bed in the morning with a sense of purpose and therefore is able to work with almost no effort. Now, Ikigai consists of 4 dimensions. Firstly, we need to pick something that we're good at. Secondly, it must be a thing that we love to do. Thirdly, the world should need it. And lastly, we have to get paid. Let's talk about each dimension separately. 1. Doing what we're good at. Everyone has a different skill set. Some things are based on nurture and some things are based on nature. For a great part, we can learn skills. But we also have inborn characteristics that make different people suitable for different things. For example, we see differences in IQ, motor skills, empathy, physical strength, etc. Oftentimes, people focus on improving the things they're bad at. They spend their whole lives repairing themselves while rejecting the things they're naturally good at. So we might want to focus on the latter and improve those skills so we become masters at it. Because why put so much energy into becoming mediocre at best when we have the opportunity to become great? Not to mention how the world benefits from us manifesting our true potential. However, according to the Ikigai philosophy, this should be something that the world needs, which I'll address in a minute. 2. Doing what we love to do. This is very obvious, but it's also a tricky one. While a level of skill can be measured, this dimension is kind of subjective and a bit complicated. For example, you might love to be a full-time YouTube content creator, but there might be some aspects of the process that you don't like at all. You might love editing videos, writing scripts, but hate filming. In this case, filming becomes a bottleneck. Now, we can try to make filming more enjoyable. Perhaps we can change our workflow or go to different locations so we can still be immersed in this task and experience a flow state. Mindset is a key here, and with the right focus, we're able to effortlessly do the tasks that are necessary but that we don't like that much. Of course, outsourcing is an option as well. But when our activities as a whole make us dreadful and we don't see any way to develop a certain enjoyment while doing them, it might be a better idea to find something else to do. Perhaps we're just not interested in this field, or our skills are lacking, which frustrates us. At the end of the day, there's no accounting for taste, so it's probably much easier to just listen to our guts and let intuition decide where to go. 3. Doing what the world needs. It's all great when we have determined what we're good at and what we love to do, but that isn't enough to call it ikigai. Because our activities should, in one way or another, benefit the world. If they don't, it's simply a passion. Luckily, the needs of the world come in many different flavors. Jobs that are looked down upon by some people are often highly important. Someone has to pick up the trash. Someone has to fix our sink. And we wouldn't be able to thrive as a society without people cleaning up the mess. If we find enjoyment in these kind of jobs, that's absolutely terrific. To discover what the world needs, we can simply do some market research to find out the current demands. Or we can look at the world from a wider perspective, asking ourselves...
Yeah, I'm about to say, you could just look at it from your own perspective and say, hey, what do I think?
How we, with our skill sets, can make it a better place. 4. Doing what generates money. Some argue that money isn't important or shouldn't be a factor. But when we look at reality, we see that money makes the world go round. And without money, we can't pay the bills. So to make our efforts sustainable and truly a reason for being, they must generate income. If not, our activities become more of a hobby. There's nothing wrong with a hobby, of course. However, this also means that we need a job we might not like to pay the bills. And therefore sacrifice the majority of our time and energy for something we're not passionate about and don't see as our life's mission. So we could see money as a form of energy that fuels us in our pursuits.
I built my dream life, but I used AI to help me get there. Try Motion. It's a personal...
Now we have addressed the 4 dimensions of Ikigai. It's essential to explore how these dimensions relate to each other and how a combination of them form an Ikigai. When we do what we love and what we're good at, we have a passion. But this passion isn't sufficient to be an Ikigai, because it could very well be something that the world doesn't need or is even destructive to our environment. Also, it may not generate money or even cost us money. Yet being passionate about something is part of an Ikigai. Doing what we love and what the world needs, we call a mission. But a mission alone isn't an Ikigai, because we might not be good at it and not earning a dime doing it. Yet seeing our activities as a mission is an ingredient for a reason for being. When we do something that the world needs and what we get paid for, we have found a vocation. But does that mean that we like what we do and that we're good at it? Not necessarily. And that's why a vocation may be something that the world demands and that we do out of a sense of duty. But we may absolutely hate doing it. So a vocation alone isn't an Ikigai. Lastly, doing what we're good at and what we're paid for is called a profession. Does that mean that the world needs it and that we love what we do? Again, not necessarily. Some people hate their profession, and some professions are even destructive to the world. So a profession alone isn't an Ikigai. What makes an Ikigai is the combination of all 4 dimensions. This means...
Hey, y'all take a screenshot or a picture of this so y'all can keep it for yourself. What you love to do, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for.
That a reason for being includes a passion, a mission, a vocation, and a profession.
A passion, a mission, a profession, and vocation.
These are all the ingredients that facilitate us to engage in a worthwhile pursuit that we love to get up for in the morning. And when we love what we do, it's so easy to immerse ourselves in it and get in a state of flow. The secret lies in aligning our own nature with the nature of our environment to establish an optimal interplay between ourselves and our surroundings, so that our pursuit becomes effortless. The Taoists call this Wu Wei, which can be translated as effortless action. It's essential to remember that what we're looking for is not set in stone. Many factors play a role in deciding what our ikigai is in a constantly changing world. Remaining in that flow state means that we continually need to adapt and fine-tune our position within the whole. Ikigai, therefore, isn't static. It's an active entity that changes with the flow of time. Thank you for watching.
Hey, so I'm saving this into our playlist. By the way, if you go over to the DGTA TV YouTube channel, you can check out all of the videos that we have liked thus far here on DGTA TV and Expansion Pack. If you saw a video that you liked on here and you want to get and watch it again on your own free time, or you want to get some sort of information, a piece of information that you didn't get at the moment while watching, just go check out the actual YouTube channel, DGTA_TV, and hit playlist up at the top, and you'll see Knowledge of Expansion Pack on there. All right, so let's get an example of an ikigai. Well, we don't need no more examples of it. We pretty much got it. All right, so what about oh man, he gonna score. Let's see, options of work, just in case y'all looking.
Not sure what career you want to pursue? No worries. I've got 8 quick ways to help you explore your options and find the right path for you. Let's dive into it. Did you know that the average person changes their careers at least twice in their life? Check it out. If you think of careers as stepping stones to where you want to be, you'll stay open to exploring new interests and talents throughout it. The key is to stay curious and stay focused on your goals. Just because you start out as an accountant doesn't mean you can't try other careers, like social media strategist, writer, chef, nurse, or filmmaker. When it comes to careers, nothing is permanent. Building a successful career is all about having a plan and work.
Hey, hold on. This we ain't teenagers. There we go.
Welcome to our video on the options available for working after 65 years old. As people are living longer and healthier lives, more and more individuals are choosing to work beyond the traditional retirement age of 65.
65.
In this video, we will explore the different types of work that are available for older individuals, including part-time work, consulting, entrepreneurship, volunteering, government employment, and working from home. As discussed in the video, there are several options for those looking to continue working after 65, including part-time work. This can...
Man, they messing us up today. These videos whack. All right, let me see. Content creators over 50 or 40 is good. Hey, y'all watch a couple minutes of this. Why people over 40 have to start a YouTube channel.
Say hello to Taylor Brands. Just go to their site, enter your LLC state, choose your business name, answer a few questions, and...
He gonna tell y'all.
Hey guys. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to seeing from me if you've been here before. If you're new, then welcome. Nice to meet you. So yeah, today's video is going to be different than before. I want this to be a little more real, a lot less edited, and just me having a conversation with you. No teleprompter. I do have a few notes here written on my phone, so I will be referring to those. And maybe that's one thing that's stopping you from to make a video like this. And maybe that's one thing that's stopping you from starting your own YouTube channel. And that's kind of the topic for today. I think today is the perfect time for you to start a YouTube channel. People think, or you may have heard that, you know, YouTube's been around a long time. Lots of people have been making money on YouTube for years now. Surely there can be no more room for anybody new.
Right.
I'm here to tell you that that's wrong. I think today is the perfect time to start, especially if you are over 40 years old like I am. And the reason I say that is because if you're over 40, then you've got life experiences more so than the younger generations, right? And you can take those and run with them, right? You can use them to your advantage. So if you think that the younger generation is the generation that uses YouTube the most, you may be right as far as consuming on YouTube. So the younger generations, and I'm talking about teens into your 20s, maybe even 30s, do spend a lot of time on social media, whether it's YouTube or watching Instagram Reels or TikTok videos. And right, they are consumers of video on those platforms. Once you get up over 40, then perhaps maybe you aren't as much of a consumer, and you may be thinking about ways you can monetize this sort of thing. So you may be hearing stories about people making it big on YouTube, and in your mind you may be thinking, well, it's typically the younger people that are doing that. Well, that's not true. In fact, the average age of successful content creators on YouTube is over 40 years old.
Wow.
Right? And
wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Partly because I think they have more experience when you're in your older ages, like not that old, over 40, got more experience and maybe more know-how in how to turn that into a side business or a full-time business, right? So because of that, and because of the experiences you have in, I don't know whatever, could be a hobby that you're very interested in, or it could be something you do at work that you're very good at, or maybe not even an expert at, but all you have to do is be just a little bit better than somebody else in order to be successful on YouTube. And I want to explain how that works. So first thing, you've probably heard this before as well, is that you want to define your niche. And what I mean by that is you need to define what it is that you want to talk about on YouTube. So that might be, or like examples could be, maybe you're good at gardening. Maybe you're good at fitness. Running, maybe you're a good runner, maybe you are good at lifting weights or yoga, so those are fitness ideas. Maybe you're good at certain software on the computer or online. Anything software related, any how-to type videos are huge, and there's a huge demand for. Software is always changing, so there's always going to be something new that people are going to need help with learning how to use that software. And again, you may be thinking, well, there's already people making videos on these things.
I'm going to pause something right there because I don't want it to just keep playing and playing and playing. What I'm going to say right now at this point is, right, y'all need to be branching out. Y'all don't need to be stopping where you're at, you know what I'm saying? Because anything could turn, change, or happen as far as the future goes. So some of these new things that are available right now, I don't think the Amish are driving cars just because cars are around, and I don't think that just because YouTube is out, people over 40 or 50 or whatever age you may be at should be having it. But there are things out there that, as far as the new technology and the new upgrades in life are concerned, that you should be paying attention to. Like they switched over from analog to digital TV, and you know, you can still go get an antenna, but imagine that older person who has this old TV and they don't have a flat screen and things like that when that happened. So it's kind of like the same thing as far as knowing how to work this equipment. If you in your 50s right now, you should definitely know how to use a smartphone. If you are in your 50s right now, you should definitely know how to, I guess, not use social media, because there's no particular use of social media, but you should be familiar with at least the fact that it exists, because it's a source of information for people. So what I'm saying is, if you only watching the 9 o'clock news, then you're missing a lot of information that may be coming in. But at no point am I saying that you need to go start a YouTube channel and blog about your life, unless that's something in your ikigai. All right. Now, I like my man's pitch. Yo, I need some shorts on this topic. I don't want to see a long video. Let's see.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. Do you want to go do karate?
All right, I just want to watch videos about people, what people talking about it. Anyone can blow up. 9 things I wish I knew when I started. All right, well, let me do this then. Let's see. Making options. This is gonna be a good one. After 40. Jeez Louise. Yeah. Let's see what Jordan Peterson say.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can. First up, let's talk about AI color themes. You can get...
It's hell to be bitter. And if you're 40 and you're not successful, then you have to accept your lot and you have to start to improve what's right in front of you. And if you do that, it doesn't take very long. It's quite interesting to watch people. Things can be a lot better in 6 months and they can be way better in 2 years. Like, it's a struggle, uphill struggle, but it's by no means impossible. And I don't know, again, what the limit of that is. I suppose it depends to some degree on the degree of your commitment. But anyway, so it's another indication of the real validity of this story. God isn't setting this up to be easy, right? Abraham's old, and his wife is old too, and more than that, she's barren. How is he going to be the father of nations? How is he going to be successful? Well, the initial departure point is insufficient, radically insufficient. And that's very inspiring, because it means that you can start from where you are.
Yes, sir. Let's see what else we got out here. I really want to see this first video. Let me see what my man's got.
Hello fellow compounders, welcome back. In previous videos, we showed how easy it is to build a multi-million retirement portfolio if you have 40 years to compound your investments. However, I received many comments from investors in their 40s asking what to do if they're starting to invest later in life and don't have that 40-year runway of someone in their 20s. Today, we're diving into an intriguing scenario. Meet James and Emma Taylor, a hypothetical couple in their late 40s looking to retire in 20 years. But starting from scratch. Your only son has just graduated from college and has left the nest, and they have just gotten around thinking about retirement. Emma is a grade school teacher and James is a postman in New York City. Between both of them, they earn $120,000 per year. After taxes, their take-home pay is about $72,000. James and Emma have been juggling the cost of city living and the expenses of raising a child. Their financial journey has been one of...
I want to stop this video before we get going on this. This is assuming, right, that you have actually put in the work to gain this money, or to, you know, kind of live this life. Like, as he said, 120K together, that's what they make. And if they following their ikigai, if they not following their ikigai, they might not be happy, but they got the money. You know what I'm saying? So they might be looking for a career shift after they retire. But I don't want to watch this video for the record, because this is assuming that you go along with the social planning of living a life out here in the world. And a lot of the times some people don't get that chance or that opportunity. It's people on continents around the world, even this one, who didn't get a good education. So they didn't find a job that paid them every single 2 weeks on a W-2. They probably getting paid under the table. You know what I'm saying? So what they doing? They ain't calculating 120K gross a year and 72K net after, and then got the balancing mortgage. You know what I'm saying? I like to keep it realistic to an extent on here, and this is not ideal to me. This right here on the screen that you seeing is not ideal. The ideal circumstance for me, please. I'm sorry. So I don't want to just say options after 40. Let's say relationship. Let's get off such a tough life topic. Let's see what we got.
Gosney is a lifestyle and pizza oven brand. Last year, we put out 4,000 social posts in 3.
Next tip, if you're dating in your 40s, fellas, ditch Match.com. If you're a man and you're dating in your 40s, if anybody tells you to get on Match, run away. Don't take any more advice from them. For more tips for dating in your 40s, stick around. Thomas Anthony here, co-founder and head male coach over at mloves.com, where we help men get into serious long-term relationships with women that they're really excited about. In today's video, we're going to talk all about dating in your 40s and things you can do if you're single and you're a guy and you're looking to find your next relationship or pick up the skills that you need to be successful in the dating market in 2023. Next tip, real simple. Do not take women out in 2023 to dinners on a first date.
Why not?
That just doesn't work anymore. Maybe 15 years ago when you were single, when there wasn't as much competition in the market, there wasn't 7-3 men to women on Bumble and 9-1 on Tinder, you could get away with it. But in today's world, it's only going to hurt the escalation of your relationship if you spend a lot of time and money on a first date with a woman.
Wow.
Don't think about doing that. Next tip, go to the gym. Literally, testosterone lowers every single month when you're in your 40s. Your metabolism slows down as well. So get to the gym. I'm 41. I work out, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a week. I feel great. People want to be around me. You've heard that before if you're following our YouTube channel. So if you're dating in your 40s, right, attraction is still important, especially if you're going to date younger women. They have to be attracted to you. So if you got 10 or 15 pounds to lose, go hire a trainer, right? Get it done. I lost 32 pounds in about a 7-month period back in 2015. Just go to the gym. Get on a meal plan. I've been using Trifecta. This is not a sponsored thing or
right,
anything
you
like
shut
that,
up
but I
then.
love Trifecta. Makes everything super simple. It's a little bit of prison food, but check it out. Lose some weight, exercise. Next tip, if you're dating in your 40s, fellas, don't just target 26-year-olds. It's going to make your life a whole heck of a lot harder. I hear it all the time. I take intro calls. I talk to all the guys that are coming into our program, and a lot of guys in their 40s, you know, maybe you can get away with it if you're 40 and you want to date in your late, and women in their late 20s, especially if you look younger, but 48-year-old men and 26-year-old women
do not mix.
Generally never going to work out.
Yeah.
So be realistic with your expectations. Date 10 to 12 years younger max, depending on if you're in your early 40s or in your late 40s.
True.
Next tip, figure out what you want to do. Short and long-term goals. Pretty simple. If you're coming out of a long relationship, maybe you just want to date for a while, right? If you've been single for a really long time, maybe you want to hit it hard, try to find a long-term relationship. Figure out what you want in the next 6 months so you have a goal. Without goals in life, we're not going to get anywhere. Next tip, if you're dating in your 40s, fellas, is have some standards, right? Create an ideal girlfriend archetype for yourself. I see guys in our coaching program coming in. We get guys that are 19 up to 70, and guys in their 40s and 50s actually have it a little bit easier. They succeed for whatever reason, as long as they're not too tight on their filters, right? Like unless they're just trying to date women in their early 20s, for example, they succeed really well. But have some standards, right?
Right.
Get out there and mega date. I want you to date 8 to 12 women in a 90-day period. So you can really compare
8 to 12 women in a 90-day period. That's my man's. There you go. I need to pick up a couple of them.
Women. And look, if you don't want to date women with kids, then you don't want to date women with kids. So don't budge.
Right.
Don't lower your standards. Have a no settling policy. That's what we do at MLoves. Next tip, when you're dating in your 40s, fellas, have a process and a procedure for dating. Take it seriously. I see so many guys that come in for intro calls that tell me, oh, I'm in and out of dating. I do it for a few weeks and then I take a few weeks off. And then I ask them, well, why, how do you feel about being single for the past 4 years? So
right.
Always, always, always have a process for everything you do in life. In our program, we give our students daily activities to do on the apps. Exactly what to say to the women on the apps, right? How to get the date, how to get the number. In the in-person stuff, we give our students weekly activities, where to go to meet women, right? What to say when you do meet them, how to get the number, how to get to the date.
Number.
So if you don't have a process in dating right now, I welcome you to watch our free masterclass. It's linked below this video. If you're hyper-focused on dating and you really need a process, you really want some structure, you want a great community to date with, because our program comes with a great community of single guys all figuring out exactly what you're trying to figure out. Go ahead and book a call over at mloves.com/book.
Hey, now he on his commercials. Dang, this is crazy. I just figured everybody was using the dating apps, meeting up, and then going with it. Let's see what we got for the women.
I don't really like committing to things. I'm scared. But when Verizon announced that I could lock in a low price for 3 years, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Can you hear me now?
New romance in the new year. There are 95.9 million single Americans out there looking for love, and everyone knows dating is not easy. But what if you are over 40 and you haven't been on a date since you were, well, a teenager? Here's GMA's own Marisol Castro with more.
Look at that. Yeah, get on that site, girl.
When it comes to romance, what's your perfect evening? Which of these would you say is your most impressive skill? What is more important to share in a committed relationship?
Susan Fenley has it all. A beautiful home in Connecticut, 2 happy, loving daughters, her loyal dog Stella, and a job she loves just a few towns away. But 7 years after the end of her 20-year marriage, there's one thing missing, and it takes her daughters to point it out.
My sister and I definitely had to egg her on a little bit, because we would talk and we'd say my mom's perfect, there's got to be someone perfect out there for her.
Easier said than done. The obstacles to getting back into the dating world later in life can seem insurmountable. At every step, fears to overcome.
When was the
Fears.
last time you dated? High school.
Right.
No dating skills, but a lot of living, which leads to another concern.
When you're a woman in her 50s, as I am, it's awkward. It's very awkward, and it's embarrassing in many ways to broach that topic. You know, your opportunities are different.
Then she hit another wall.
Living in a community like this, a lot of the people are married.
Oh.
So, where do you go? Where do you go to meet people?
The big thing that my sister and I helped her with was definitely online dating.
Yeah, they kept telling me, this is the way to go. This is the way you meet people today.
Yeah, let's see how to get there.
My initial concern was privacy in terms of me. Oh, everyone's going to know I'm doing this. And again, that was my sort of old-fashioned thoughts of having some sort of stigma with online dating. My other concern was communicating with someone that maybe would be not very desirable.
And then there's the small question of who does the asking.
I still had that little voice, you shouldn't make the first move. You don't ever make the first move. But it's getting easier.
Say you don't make that first move.
Sending winks or flirting.
Finally, the fear of picking the wrong Mr. Right.
She thinks I'm too picky. So, what do you think about the picky? It's hard, I don't know what picky
I think she has a right to be.
Our thanks to Marisol for that story. We're joined now by family therapist Terry Real. Good to have you back, Terry. And
thank you, Robin.
Good. We're happy to report that since Marisol talked to Susan, she's dating. She got out there and she found somebody through a mutual friend, and she's now dating. But really, there's so many that are hesitant about this. And you're saying no timeline, just get out there, right, Terry?
The time is now. You know what? If you wait till tomorrow, you'll be another day older. So it's not going to get any easier tomorrow or the next day. Go on out and get it done.
So why?
Yeah, but it's not easy to meet people, even with the online, because I just ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm nice. And they don't. And in the dating world, you ain't supposed to be nice, apparently. You supposed to be, mean up until the time that you kiss the person or you naked or something. I don't know.
So hard for some women, though, Terry, to get out there.
Well, we're old. I mean, not you. I mean, this is for women over 40, but the rest of us,
thanks. I'm there, trust me.
We're old.
Right.
People used to say to me, hey, you look like Al Pacino. Now they say to me, you look like Al Gore. I mean, gravity has taken hold. We feel awkward. We haven't dated for 30, 40 years. A lot of women Susan's age don't know really their way around a computer, let alone online dating, and it's all very intimidating.
It is, and she cited some really legitimate concerns,
Right.
you know, about privacy and, you know, even asking her daughters about who makes the first move, and those are legitimate concerns for someone in her age group.
Yeah, they're legitimate, but they're very old-fashioned.
Oh, come
I mean, this
on.
is where kids can
Right.
really help out. I mean, who makes the first move? That is, I want women to be creative. My Aunt Fritz has a friend Goldie, would always talk to her about meeting her at the group. I said, what is this group? And it turns out it's a bereavement group. And I said, Goldie, your husband's been dead 15 years. She said, it's a great way to meet God. So, you know, I want women to be creative and be assertive.
Women, get out there.
You're over 40. You're going to have to work a little harder to find a guy.
So how do we conquer these fears?
All right. Hold on. I got to hear how you conquer them
How do we
fears.
go about it?
You don't.
Oh,
Don't
my
wait for your
gosh.
feelings to go away. Feel the feelings and do it
Anyway.
Take small steps and get people like Susan's daughters to surround you, who love you, maybe a little different generation, who will help you get over some of these issues like the internet or who asks first, and help you move into the 21st century.
I need some of that help, man. We saving this, man. Not saying I'm looking for dates and whatnot or trying to go out, but it would be nice to have a female friend I can holler at. I got a couple, but they don't live here. So, all right. This has been another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man, here on DGTA TV. This was good right here. At least that last bit. I had to kind of feel it out, you know what I'm saying? Check us out here again tomorrow, Healthy Mental Thursday. And I'm going to get on up out of here. Continue on with the rest of my day. Peace. This is DGTA TV.
You've got the upper hand, and if you have a partner you can rely on, well then, you know, you can both decide how it is that you're going to run your household so that you're actually thrilled to death that you have kids and that you have a life. Well, so I have a good marriage, thank God for that, and that's partly due to the outstanding moral quality of my wife, who I'm also extraordinarily attracted to. You know, we've built a life together and we've had kids together and we're happy with our kids, and we had plenty of struggle with our kids because one of our children, my daughter, had serious health problems, which she seems to have managed to resolve, partly as a consequence of her own brilliance. But, you know, we've set ourselves up now so that our children are respectable and mature young adults, so thank God for that. And they've got partners who we both really like, and they're going to have children, and well, hooray, you know, that means that this next part of my life is going to be something that I can advance into with a fair bit of hope. The shackle together is more like it's such a, I may have even said that, but it's such a cynical way of looking at it. It's more like what you've produced is an unbreakable bond between two beings, and that makes both of them better in every way if it's a relationship that's based on trust and genuine communication. It's a very difficult thing to attain because you have to be willing to tell the truth, and the truth is generally a horrible thing. You know, I mean, it's easy to tell truth when everyone wants to hear what you have to say, but it's very difficult to tell the truth when no one wants to hear it, least of all yourself. You're not coming clean about old lies generally if that will ruin lives. And I don't think you forgive yourself precisely and focus on living truthfully in the future. You focus on living truthfully in the future, and perhaps you don't forgive yourself exactly. That doesn't mean you pound yourself into the ground with guilt, but if you have done things in the past that were reprehensible and that would destroy lives if were brought to light, then you should, I think that generally speaking, you should do everything